Hey Jason, good to see you again. Today we talked a little bit about going over cello posture, how to sit with the cello, and all that kind of stuff. Coming from a tuba background, that's going to make that position feel a lot more natural as far as holding another instrument. Um, Unfortunately, the cello is kind of a different beast. In this short little video, I'll walk you through some of the things to keep in mind, the checklists, all that kind of stuff on how to hold your cello. So give me one moment. Alright, so one of the first steps that we're going to do is making sure that our feet are in kind of a triangle, so left foot, right foot kind of thing. And at the point at the bottom, we would want our cello end pin, this bad boy, to be the last point on the triangle. So basically, cello end pin up here, left foot, right foot. So we kind of got that spread over there, and we've got the end point at the top. So with your arm kind of straight out, go ahead and hold the cello right out there just like that. Sitting up nice and tall, all that jazz, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to take that right shoulder on the instrument and have it kind of lean back towards you, towards your left hand shoulder. So cello's right shoulder, your left shoulder. And notice how it's basically straight, but just a little off to the side. And if I tilt the camera down just a little bit, whoop. So if I tilt it down just a bit and scoot back. So notice where my knees are. They're kind of right at the bottom of the frame there. They're going to be below this C cutout here, which is right near the F holes, but right below this C cutout is where I want to hold my cello. So I want to make sure that it's not too far this way, tilt it out towards that way. Make sure it's not tilted too far out that way, but just a little bit of tilt is okay. Now the reason we want to have our knees below the C cutout is because if they're closer to it, like if they're way up there, I'm not going to have enough room in my bow. I'm going to be running into my knee, especially if I am playing on the C string. But now, as you can see, my leg is kind of more back here. So when I drag that bow across the C string, I'm not going to run into my leg. Nice, free and clear. I'm not getting rosin dust on my pants or nothing. A+. Okay, so that's kind of that. We have our finger tapes on here, so let me see if I can zoom in real quick. Oh, I guess I cannot. Okay. We're bringing you close. Okay. So we've got our finger tapes here. So this may or may not be mirrored, so bear with me. Right over here, this is our C string, this lowest one. On my end, I'm looking at it, it's the string to the right of my fingerboard, so left to right. The video might show it on the left side, I'm not quite sure. We'll see what happens in post, but on the very right side of your fingerboard is going to be the C string, G string, D string, and A string. Okay, that much we're pretty familiar with. Okay, so now we're going to get to the stuff that we're maybe not so familiar with, and it's our fingers. Okay. So what I want to introduce to you now is the C major scale. I'm going to put my bow down because we're not going to use it quite yet. Now C major is kind of weird. It has no sharps, no flats, all that kind of stuff. So how do we play it on the cello? Good question. For this, I'm just going to be doing pizzicato. All that kind of stuff. So it's going to be super easy. Take that thumb, and this is going to be higher than where I'll want you to put it, but take your thumb and put it on the side of your fingerboard. And then all you got to do is take your pointer finger, and that's your plucking finger. So that's going to go kind of closer to the end of the fingerboard. And what you'll do, so for this scale, it's going to be super easy. We'll do an open string, which is no fingers pressed down. Then we're going to do our first finger pressed down on the first tape. Then we're going to go to our third finger and fourth finger. But we're not done yet. Now we have a whole extra string to do. So that'd be C, D, E, F. Next up we go to our next string, which is going to be the G string. So we go open for G, 1 for A, 3 for B, and 4 for C. So that gets us from C to C all the way through the octave. If you do happen to press your second finger on your way up the scale, that's okay, it's just going to sound a little bit funky. But getting that 1, 3, 4 finger position kind of a little bit more used to, once we get that feeling a little more comfortable, it's going to make these scales really easy. So we go open, 1, 2, 3. Just realizing I said the numbers wrong. Open, 1, 3, 4. Open, 1, 3, 4. So in order to play our scales, we'll go upwards, and then once we reach the top on that fourth finger C, then we'll go right back down. No need to play that last note twice, just play it once. And you go 3, 1, open, 4, 3, 1, open. So that's your C major scale. I'll have you practice that one this week, and luckily for you, if you take that same pattern, open, 1, 3, 4, open, 1, 3, 4, across all your different strings, 2 strings at a time, so we just did the C and the G string. If you take that with the G and the D string, that's going to be your G major scale, so that lowest string is the name of the scale. If we take it with our D and our A string, that's going to be the D major scale. Open, 1, 2. Same kind of thing. So that's one of the things that I want you to also practice as you start to warm up. It'll be building up that habit of getting familiar with where your fingers go, how much pressure I need, where does my elbow need to be, do I adjust my shoulder or do I adjust my elbow, do I adjust my wrist, all that kind of stuff. I would say for the most part, elbow is going to be super important. You don't want it to be way out here, way out high, but if you're noticing, man, things are kind of really struggling when I get up to here, or when I get down to my C string, then go ahead and bring out the elbow. Our biggest thing is we want to avoid injury. We want to prioritize rest and avoid injury. So how do we do that? We do that essentially by making sure that we're super relaxed, right? In my left hand, in my right hand. For a while, it's not really going to feel relaxing to press this, press the finger down, because you're applying pressure, you're applying tension, and it's going to feel like, oh. However, as we get more used to it, we'll get more familiar that, we don't actually need a crazy amount of tension on it. We just need enough. If you're practicing this week and you notice yourself making this sound, that is the biggest indicator that you need actually more pressure and more tension down on the string. Your really good guide for this is you want the string to meet the fingerboard. So notice how it's dipping down there. You actually want the string and your finger to sandwich that. You want the fingerboard and your finger to sandwich the string between them, make a little string sandwich. And if you press hard enough, you can actually hear some resonance. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with guitar, but it's the same thing as the hammer-on technique for guitar, where you kind of press really hard and make that string resonate. So that's going to be your big goal for this week. Practice those scales, and before I let you go, I'm going to play through all of those scales one at a time, section them out. So it should be 3 of them, and I will wish you good luck. So here's your C major. Got a little out of tune there. Next Next up is your G string, your G major scale. And lastly is your D major scale. And one final note about posture is that you want your scroll basically next to your head and back. You kind of want, it's kind of hard to see with all this hair here, but you kind of want the tuning peg to be not really touching the back of your head, but kind of behind your ear a little bit, just in that general vicinity. And that should be good posture. There's your scales. If you warm up with those, you just go right along through them. It's going to hurt your fingers for a little bit, however. It's going to build up those calluses nice and quick, and it's going to feel less painful the more you do it. If you spend 5 minutes going through your scales, if you spend 2 minutes going through your scales, if you do them a few times, all that kind of stuff, that's going to be really good as far as practice technique. It's going to warm up your fingers in this hand, going to warm up your fingers in this hand, and all that sort of stuff. So it'll take us a little bit before we jump into the bow. However, we did do a little bit of that today, so we can look forward to that in the future. Alrighty, my friend, I hope you have a fabulous time, and I will see you next time.